The Ha Giang Loop is a legendary motorbike route in northern Vietnam, famous for jaw-dropping mountain views, sharp winding roads, and remote ethnic villages. A lot of people nowadays hire an easy rider to do the driving, but not us. I'll be driving, Ing's on the back, and we're doing the full loop ourselves over 4 days. And it all starts with an overnight sleeper train from Hanoi to Ha Giang. So if you want to see what it's really like, then come along for the ride. Alright guys, we are in the bus now. We're going to be in here for the next 6.5 hours. We'll arrive to Ha Giang at like around 2:30 a.m. Hopefully you can get some sleep on this bus. The bus was surprisingly good, and I actually got some solid sleep. Dropped outside our hotel at 2:30 a.m., we messaged the hotel on WhatsApp and waited to be let in. Alright guys, here's the room. Check it out. Not bad at all. Let's see if this works. Good morning guys. So yeah, we made it. You can see the beautiful mountains behind me. Looks quite different to where we were yesterday in Hanoi. Ing, how do you feel?
Didn't sleep enough.
You didn't sleep enough.
Yeah, but it's beautiful.
We're traveling from Ha Giang to Yen Minh today, but we need to pick up our bike first, which we rented from the hotel, and get breakfast. Not feeling the most rested and a bit nervous to see the bike that we'll be riding on for the next 4 days. Breakfast was okay. It was some instant noodles with egg for Ing, and then for me I had what the hotel called pancakes, but lots of carbs for energy, which we'll be needing for later. Alright guys, here's the map. Right now we're around 6.5 hours away from Hanoi by bus. We are here at Ha Giang, and then today we're going to drive up to go to Yen Minh. Choosing the right bike was one of the most important decisions for the trip. I debated between a smaller, scooter-like bike or this bigger one. So I've not ridden one of these things in maybe, 4-5 years. I ride a tiny Honda Scoopy in Bangkok, but I hadn't been on a big manual bike in years. I'd basically forgotten how to use the gears. Plus, we never really strapped anything to the back of a bike before, so that was a first too. It's about 4,000 baht, so $110 for 4 days, including the insurance. So I don't know if that's expensive or not. But yeah, the bags are packed. Hopefully we don't need anything out of them. And yeah, we're gonna hit the road to Yen Minh, so wish us luck. Finally, we are hitting the road. It feels so good to be out, and the scenery is already pretty magical. But at the same time, I'm still getting used to being on the bike and the road. Distance today is supposed to be 100 kilometers to Yen Minh, but we can't just drive straight there. We have to stop, of course, at some of the famous viewpoints along the way. This is where we hit our first real obstacle. Not even 5 minutes after we left our hotel, we got stopped at a police checkpoint. Now, before we came to Vietnam, I did research the requirements for driving here, and I specifically got my international driver's license for this trip. What I didn't know is that the license is issued under 2 conventions, the 1968 convention and the 1949 convention. The convention I got was the 1949 convention, which may or may not be fully recognized by Vietnam. So we got stopped, and I eventually had to call the hotel owner who rented us the bike. She spoke to him and pulled some strings, I guess, and he let us go, but he did let us know that we weren't driving 100% legally.
Okay, sorry.
The officer did notice our camera and asked me to turn it off. I was pretty nervous and was shaking, which happens almost every time I talk with any police officer. So I turned the camera off. But anyways, it was my fault for not doing enough research. And actually, this wouldn't be the last time we ran into the police, as you'll see later. We noticed a place to stop alongside the road, and I tried to film there, but truck horns were blasting, drowning everything out. Turns out it wasn't a one-off. Loud, aggressive horns would be a constant on the road from Ha Giang to Yen Minh. So we gave up and headed to our first real stop, Heaven's Gate. This is where we started seeing ethnic locals in traditional clothing, just going about their day. It's wild to think about life in cities like New York, Bangkok, or Hong Kong, and then see this, two completely different worlds. So about 45 minutes into the drive, we made it to Heaven's Gate. Not to sound like a Debbie Downer, but the views here were not special compared to what we'd already seen and what we would see later. And in the meantime, we were getting boxed in by Easy Rider tours, which happened many times throughout the trip. After the Heaven's Gate, we sought out to try and find our first cafe. To our surprise, there was no cafe up here, but the view made up for it.
It looks like the cafe's close. But still a good viewpoint though.
A friend once told me, the worst is when things don't go someone's way and they just lose it. But if you can meet the challenge with a sense of play, the whole experience can shift.
There you guys go. Vietnamese iced coffee.
At this point, I think Ing was starting to wonder what I'd gotten her into, and honestly, so was I. I had planned for an adventure, but I realized I had been more caught up in the idea of it than the reality. Pretty quickly, I realized I had underestimated what this trip would actually take. It sounded easy on paper, but the lack of sleep, a run-in with the police freaking me out, and doubts about whether I could actually get us through this, all of it hit me, and we were only about an hour in. But I had to push those thoughts aside. We were getting hungry, so we made a quick stop at a roadside restaurant. The woman here ran a small restaurant in the middle of nowhere, but it was beautifully decorated and clearly built with care. I really respected that. To get to the cave, we had to detour off the main road. The road here was quite bad and was honestly a bit terrifying. At this point, I decided if the road got any worse, we'd turn back. I was also questioning whether the bike I'd rented was too big, and that doubt stuck with me the whole trip.
If it gets worse than this, I'm not gonna go.
The smaller bikes looked way more
Drive on
agile.
that small bike.
There were a lot of steep downhill curves that forced us to slow way down. Each one took focus. One mistake and you're in a ditch. Wow, guys, are you seeing the views down here? It's like really beautiful. And kind of a pain in the ass driving it with this big bike, but yeah, it's just, I think this so far has been the most beautiful part of the trip, was this little cave detour. When I started out today, the roads, they weren't looking that beautiful, to be honest. I've seen kind of similar in Chiang Mai, Laos, but this is like, yeah, this is next level stuff. All right, guys, well, we are not going to the cave because it's a kilometer that way. All our stuff is strapped to our bike, so we don't want to unstrap it and walk a kilometer up and back. We're feeling kind of overheated a bit, and it's a bit hot. But I think the way to the cave was really nice, so that was worth it, just to see the way to the cave. We're just gonna head to the hotel, which is an hour and 30 minutes pretty much up the road. So yeah, gonna try and get there before it's dark. 2 p.m. now, and then hopefully our face isn't completely burned, and yeah, maybe see you guys there at the hotel. I'm glad for the breaks like these alongside the road to enjoy the view. I found most of the time you're driving the bike, you're focused on staying on the road and watching for other traffic, so it's hard to take in the surroundings. And look at that, guys. It's the sign for Yen Minh. We were genuinely so happy at this moment. It felt like we had been through an entire day, even though it was only 4 p.m. Today was a mix of excitement, exhaustion, shock, and accomplishment. Pretty much every emotion you can think of. But we made it through day 1, and being on the road gave everything a sense of purpose. Tomorrow, we ride again, but after some rest tonight, we hope we'll be ready to see what surprises come next.